my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. So this is the last video of a series of 4 videos I'm recording at once. In the very wee hours of June 27th, just because early morning / late night is my best period of the day, energy-wise and all that, just between overstimulation issues during the day, plus having worked night shift as a nurse for many years before I became incapable of working. But this video is a little bit different than the other ones that I have recorded, or that I usually record. First of all, it's not talking about books that I'm currently reading, and then second of all, it's not what I've been doing a fair amount of recently, which is a book tag. So it's not either of those things. I want to talk a little bit about my book journaling. I'm a little bit behind in my, a lot behind in my book journaling. And this happened when I was doing, Christie's Missing Readathon last year, because when I read Agatha Christie, I read a lot at one time. So I can read 2 to 3 on a really good day, up to 3 a day when I'm just sitting down and reading. So I got way behind when doing those. But since I have finally finished my books for 2024, I think I'm on my last book for 2024 for my book journal, or 2023 for my book journal. Then I can finally get into 2024. But let me go into a little bit of what book journaling looks like for me. So, first of all, this is my journal that I use. This is a book that I just happen to have. I have other journals that I can use after this one's finished. And my book journaling style has changed since I started. I started June 19th of last year. And my style was very simple at first. I would draw a small cover here and it'd be a very one-page affair. But as things went on and I got more comfortable, I would add more details. Like on, I think, when is this? Looks like this was in August of 2023. I did my first library card and star rating. And this first time I did a book for over 2 pages. And it's also the first time I had one of my book stamps. Now this is a self-inking stamp. But that was my first one for that. And that was a book that I read during Jane Austen July, I believe, or started during Jane Austen July. Because this is Gentleman of Uncertain Fortune. How Younger Sons Made Their Way in Jane Austen's England. That was actually a really good book. So I continued in that vein for a while, but as time went on, then I started adding, I think Emma went, but the first time I did this, I added a library catalog card, a simplified version of what I have now, because I keep adjusting as the more I learn about library cataloging and different parts of organization for library books, the more I adjust how I write my library catalog cards. But this is my first time I had a library catalog card. That's for Emma. This is the first time I used, I think, this 5-star certified stamp. Oh, I'm sorry, that one's not Emma there. That was Collector of Lives. I used the 5-star certified stamp. But Emma is still the first time I did a library catalog card. But this is a point where I'm starting to do more complicated. See that here with the book on Eustace Chapuis. This was a big deal one for me. This is one I did over 4 pages. This was the one on Michelangelo and the Pope's ceiling. This is the first time I really did something outside of the ordinary for me for the pockets. I guess it wasn't the very first time, because I have here one for a Jane Austen book what was this for? This is Persuasion. But this was the first one that I did a drawing for, that I created my own look for that pocket. That one I actually did over quite a few pages, because I was having fun with the different Michelangelo stamps, and I had a lot to write on that. This is also the period of time where I started learning a little bit of calligraphy. And I started doing more of the printable ephemera, as well as using more in the way of the stamps like I have for this one. And let's see. I really had a lot of fun with this one, which was a book that I covered on bead crochet snakes. I did a lot of different art for that one. Again, a little bit more of the pocket. Had more of the postage stamps. And then all the Agatha Christie ones, which really were just different covers that were used throughout the different publications. But after that, I have the last one that I finished. This is one of the last two books I have for 2023. First of all, Mouse, which I did thoroughly enjoy reading. I got a lot out of this. I didn't draw this pocket. I printed out something for that. I made a pocket out of it for my library card. But I did draw the swastika, and I did draw this mouse with the Star of David behind him. And I drew Star of David as the star rating system. So I did enjoy doing that. Now this is, I'm currently in the process of doing my last book for 2023, which is Don Bluth's Somewhere Out There, My Animated Life. Now, I need to just sit down and focus in doing this one. And I have gone ahead and I need to find what I did with my, oh, there, I already pasted my catalog card. Okay. I went ahead and drew my pocket, created my pocket for The Secret of NIMH, which is the first animated film that really puts Don Bluth Studios out there. This is just a command. I used a bunch of different art from the movie to create this image that I wanted. This doesn't actually exist in the film. This is something that I created based off of different pictures within the film. I currently am in the process of drawing the little puppy from Anastasia here. I'm thinking I'll have some other little animal over here. Haven't decided yet who will be here. I don't think there's enough space for even Bigfoot to, or Littlefoot? Littlefoot. The Brontosaurus from Land Before Time. I don't think there's enough space, even with him on his hind legs, to be here. Not unless I really want to smush him. This one, I'm not sure. I might do over even a 4-page spread. I haven't decided how much art I want to do for that yet. I have a whole collection of papers that I printed off because I want Rockadoodle in there somewhere. That was a childhood favorite. I kind of want to have Anastasia and herself and a couple of other characters from Anastasia in there. I mean, Fievel from It's American Tail. I probably should have Tanya in there. I loved Tanya when I was a kid, particularly from Fievel Goes West, even though I know Fievel Goes West wasn't a Don Bluth production. Spielberg took it elsewhere at that point because he didn't want to pay the amount of money for it. But at that age, if a character could sing, I loved that character. So that was the reason I liked Tanya when she was in Fievel Goes West, because she had all that singing, and I used to love Jasmine because she could sing. Go figure, find out later she's Lea Salogna, who also is Eponine in Les Mis. So I had good taste, apparently. But that a lot of times was a contributing factor for me. I want to have at least a couple of characters, at least the Triceratops and the Brontosaurus from Land Before Time. So I think I'm going to have more than the just 2 pages if I want to write anything of a review, as well as having the artwork. So that is what I've currently got going. How I organize things to go into it. Let's see. First of all, materials. I have, for my stamps, these are my clear stamps that I can either put on, either they're plain, clear plastic, or I have put them onto rubber backing. That's my bigger book has the ones with the rubber backing on it that I have mounted onto rubber backing. But so like the plain rubber stamps that you can put on like on the cushion. I put them on cushioning. But that's in a bigger pocket. These are just the clear plastic ones. You can see which ones I've already used. I hope to use more of these, but these tend to be things like books. I've got, it looks like I've used this one before with the illuminated manuscript. This I could see doing for the Black Death, the dancing skeleton. Once I get into the medieval books, I'll be using some of these a bit more. But, yeah, the bigger one with my rubber, like the red rubber stamps. Also, I have a big, for when I do my drawings, I have a big, this whole thing is all full of different colored pencils. And I have them arranged by color. It's got it's got 4 sections. And I think at the very back section, oh, that's the front section. This also is where I have some of my calligraphy pens when I don't want to actually use my fountain pen. If I just want to do some quick calligraphy, don't want to have to worry about my pen leaking ink the way that sometimes my fountain pens will, or my calligraphy pens, my traditional, dipping / put the dropper on the calligraphy nib. If I don't want to use that very traditional calligraphy pen because of the fear of leaking, I will use this within the journal itself. Got some extra mechanical pencils in here, and then all my different colored pencils. I love this thing. It's easy to tote around. It's a lot easier than when I was using just the boxes because I didn't know what I had. Then I just need to keep an eye on the time. Okay. The other thing, I have like 3 or 4 of these. Oh. Now these are actually made for crickets. Like I guess it's I'm actually not quite sure what a cricket does. It's some sort of crafting thing. So I have 3 or 4 different cricket bags of varying different sizes. This one has what I consider my most used journal stuff in it. Like 2 of my other ones have different stamps in it. My biggest one has all my washi tape and some stickers, things like that in it. And that one's probably my least easy to access. But this one here, which is my most easy to access, I've got my cutting board, my self-healing cutting board. I have my glue pad so I don't get glue all over stuff. I don't have in this particular container. I have in one of my other ones. I have my glue rollers. Although I have in this one my glue pens and my cutting pens. I also have my art pens, like when I am penning in around what I've already drawn. My inking, like you see for like cartoonists and stuff. These are my artist pens. Got the glue things in here. Got more mechanical pencils. Got my glue pens. Just look like these. I've got cutting pens, which are good for like fussy cutting. So like if I want to get a lot of detail into my cutting. I also have in here, which I use a lot when I am cutting, I have my X-Acto knife. Oh, maybe I should put it in the other way so this top doesn't come off. There we go. So I have that in this particular front pocket. Then, for whatever reason, stamp cleaners, if you do the spray, it smells like bubble gum, and I don't do well with that scent. It affects my mouth cell, makes me cough a lot. So I use baby wipes to clean my stamps. So I keep those in there, and I use it on scented ones. In this particular container, I have my most used stamps. So these are the ones I use for my journal. So I've got, animals reading, or like my rating stamps. So this is my certified 5-star stamp. This one, it doesn't have to do with reading. This is my address stamp. This one's a different kind of 5-star that I can color in as I want to. I've different ways of marking 5-star, skulls, whatever. Reading owl, hearts, that kind of thing. This one is, it's a small, the sniggle sloth, a small reading bunny. Then in this other pocket here, I have my Ex Libris stamp. So here's my Lord of the Rings one. This is, I think, the first stampable, like non-self-stamping Ex Libris stamp I got. Then I have, this one just has a bunny. Okay, this might actually be the first one, the bunny one. Then I have Medusa. This one is, it's kind of hard to see, but this is the Plague Doctor. I also have, for my religious books, St. Joseph. Then here is, I haven't had much of a chance to use it. This is one of my newer ones. This is a Knight Ex Libris. I just keep some ink in here, just simple black ink. I have other colors of ink in different bags. Then I have Sherlock Holmes for my mystery books. And then this is a medieval lady reading. This one's probably the one I've used the most, other than like my self-stamping one. I need to use some of these other ones more. I'd like to get a bird one at some point, but right now I use a bunny one if I'm doing nature books. Then these here are my little stamps that I put on my library cards. So, for example, this is for if I borrowed a book from like Libby. That's a library card. Then I've got if this is a physical book, if this is a Kindle book, and then if this is an audio book. And if I'm doing in two forms at one time, I'll put both stamps on the little library card and the library catalog card. And then also in this section, I have my card, my hole puncher. I have my actual like date stamp that I do on my library cards. And then here I have like, this is where I keep the library card pockets. This is where I keep the actual library cards. Before I make them up, here's my index cards. Yeah, and then here's my other thing. So, this is probably my most used bag. It's the one that I keep on top. And all of mine are this kind of pink salmon-y color because the ones that I've gotten my mom for hers are blue, and we want to be able to tell ours apart if we're doing scrapbooking together. The other important part of my journaling, besides of course the journal and everything else I've previously shown, is I just recently got another box, so I was running out of room in this one. This one is going to holds my library catalog cards I have not yet put in my journal. So it's marked by author name, and until I finish the book, they stay in here. The other one, everything used to live in here, but now in here are the ones that I need to put in my journal still. So that's the back pocket part. And then the ones have library cards that are for like ebooks or audiobooks where I can't just put it inside the book. Because normally when I'm reading a book physically, that book will have a pocket, and then the library card will go in the back when I'm currently reading it. But like, let me look under, like I have it down by, Dewey Decimal Code. And so let's go ahead and look under 500, which is, oh no, I don't have anything under 500. Okay. So we'll look under 900, which I tend to have a lot under because that's history. So here is the one that I just started on Rush. So I have it, it's under 900, which is history, and it's 973, so I put in the order of its Dewey Decimal Code. And I keep it in here because it is an ebook, an audiobook, possibly an ebook as well. And I keep it in here until I'm finished with it. And then when I'm finished, before I put it in the journal, I'll put it in one of these pockets and just stick it in here in the back in the order of how it's been read. So that way I can make sure I put it in the proper order in the book journal. So that's how I store my cards. And this is just a system that tends to work for me. And finally, how I find those codes. And actually I want to pull Rush out as an example. And I'm going to do, no, not the Dewey Decimal Code, I want actually the catalog card for this, because the library card is the simpler of those two, but the catalog card is the more complex. Let's grab Rush for an example. So that is by Fried, or whatever his name is. So, Fenimore, okay, Fried. So, I'm going to take a drink of tea. So, the difference between what I've done in the past and what I have now. So, initially in the past, I'm going to grab, we're going to do, as an example, Fenimore Bill. So, back here, Birds of Virginia. So, as you can see, a very simple form. When I happen to have the Library of Congress code, I would put it here. I would have the Dewey Decimal Code. Then I have the Dewey Decimal Code and the author's first three initials of their surname. I'd have the author's name, the title of the book, where it was published, the publishing company, the year it was published, what kind of book it was, paperback, etc., and how many pages. So very simple. Well, one of my problems has always been, first of all, I wanted to go into more detail, learn how to find these things myself, or figure out these things myself, because I know that more of the books that I read have Library of Congress codes, but I can't always find them, because I was using, I think it was OCLC, I believe it was called. They had a database, but it's not free anymore, or I can't use the one I was using anymore. So I actually have to figure out the Library of Congress code and the Dewey Decimal Code on my own. Initially, I was just using a source online, but eventually I just printed out a bunch of it, and I now have a resource book. First of all, I have the main example of what are the parts of the catalog card. Two different things, but this is the main one that I use. And that just stays in the front of the binder for me. Then my very first section, because it's usually the first thing I figure out, is what the Dewey Decimal Code is. And it gives you all the sections, what all the numbers mean, if you have it in the 100s, 200s, 300s, etc., what that means. And then I go and find my specific Dewey Decimal Code, or as close as I can get, considering the fact that I am doing this, I'm completely self-taught for this. Then the anatomy of the call number, which is what's used for my Library of Congress. So the basics of what I would look under for the Library of Congress, which gives me a lot more detail than even the Dewey Decimal Code does. So it gives me, okay, if I'm going to be, for example, let's go to Sciences for Birds. So that will be, for science, that will take me to Q, I believe. Yeah, Q is Science General. And if I go all the way down, QL is Zoology. So I go in here and find QL, that's subclass HG, subclass HB, KBU, KW, LD, NK, PH. Should be getting on Q pretty soon. There's QB. Okay, QL. So I want to go down to birds. So birds are QL 671 to 699. Now I haven't figured out how they choose which number in that range. So that very much is guesstimation for me. Usually I have been choosing a number at one end or another because I don't know where to find why they choose any number in that range. But at least I'm able to narrow it down to a certain area of the QLs. So that's kind of cool. And then the other part, after I find that part of the Dewey Decimal Code, then I would be looking for the author code and the cutter table. And I put that together, and then I would have the year. So using my example that I was given, so this is for Freed. So I have, first of all, my little stamp saying that this is an I need to put the audiobook stamp as well as the digital Kindle book stamp. Oops. So I have the Dewey Decimal Code, which ends up being 973, which is, when you look at 973, that puts me at So 973 is General History of North America, United States. So then I have the author's name. Don't want to drop this. There we go. I have the author's name, and then I have the title of the book, and it has a slash and then the author's name again, which is something that I hadn't seen in the library card just on my phone. So having it printed out has really helped me do this a little bit more accurately. Then it has, now normally I would have where it's published, but because this is an audiobook, I don't have location. I just have, it's Random House Audio. And then I have circa 2018. I have how long the book is. It's 22 hours and 18 minutes. It's an Audible audiobook. And I took the ISBN from the physical form to put an ISBN in there. And then in order to do like what section it'd be in, I used the Amazon section. So like it's U.S. Revolution and Founding History, Biography of a Medical Professional, and American Revolutionary Biography underneath that to kind of give an idea of how this would be classed. Now, when you're lucky, a physical nonfiction book will have that already laid out in the front of the book for you. Then here's the creation, here again is my Dewey Decimal Code, and then here's the creation to the best of my ability of my Library of Congress code. So E302, so E is going to H. Okay, E302. Whoopsie. E302.5. So E302.5 to 302.6 is biography late 18th century. So, yeah. So that's why that's there. It's biography late 18th century. Then the F75. Now, I have a little bit more trouble understanding the cutter table because it doesn't always make sense. Like, the example they gave didn't match, like, how it seems to be that this works. But I'm doing this to the best of my ability. So the cutter table is F because the author's surname begins with an F. And then 75, so the second number after the first letter, it's going to be R. So that's R is 7. And then the next number is an I. So that means that's going to be a 5 using this table here. So that's why I have F75. And then I have the year 2018 on here. So that's how, it's been really fun making up this catalog card more correctly using my huge reference book that I've created now. And it makes it a lot more detailed than what I have had in the past, which for me is more fun. But yeah, that's just a simple idea, a simple, simple quote unquote idea of how I do handle my journaling. There's more or less work depending on what I'm reading. I'm just trying to put these back where I found them. And everything must be Ferngren, and this one's back for Freed. Okay, so it's a whole process, but with everything organized, it's a lot easier than it could be now that I figured out what I'm doing. And I'm just so excited. I built this up last night, so I'm really happy to have this. It makes everything more fun and all in one place instead of trying to pull from many different sources online that might go away. Now I have everything where I can get to it, and it's covered in these plastic sheaths so they won't get damaged when I'm using them. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this book journal video. I'm not sure if you do book journal, what does your book journaling look like? Are you as much into the library classification thing, or is that kind of more of a unusual thing that I do? I know most of the people will put some sort of cover in there and some sort of review. I haven't yet seen a whole lot of use with the library card or the library catalog card. To be fair, I haven't watched a whole lot of videos on book journaling. I'm trying to add more of those to things that I watch, but it's hard to get a lot of booktube listening to in along with book journaling, along with reading. And what I need to do is when I'm listening to booktube, that's when I need to be book journaling or knitting or whatever. But yeah, so if you do book journal, what does your book journaling look like? If you don't book journal, but you still are interested in library catalog stuff, or if you are a librarian, how do you decide where in that range of both in the Dewey Decimal Code and in the Library of Congress Code, how do you determine where in that range that you are after you choose your initial section? Because I'm doing a lot of that playing by ear. A lot of this is research that I've done on my own, scouring the internet. Because I don't have any library training. My training is as a nurse. So this is just something that I've done for enjoyment, and just over the past year that I've learned a lot about just through scouring the internet. I do have a family friend who I think she works in some sort of science library, so she was able to give me some tips, but I need to probably sit down with her and go through some of this information at some point, but she doesn't live here in this area. But yeah, just interested in what you do once you get your initial area of, okay, I'm in this section of the Library of Congress Code and I have this range. How do I pick a number within that range? Or if it's determined by, specific libraries. But anyway, hope that you enjoyed this video. I have been wanting to do one on book journaling for a while. I don't know how long it'll be before I finish the Don Bluth one. I know that I want to do a lot more artwork in there. I need to finish Puka's drawing, but I think maybe I'll add a bunch of sketches throughout before I fully finish Puka, before I pen him in and everything. Sketch out where all the other animals are going to be, animals, characters, whatever are going to be, and then maybe start penning in. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me. Hope that you had a good time. Hope that you enjoyed this. I will see you next time. God bless. Bye.